So this is the super old house that I saw last time. Okay. That's it. That is the place we're going. How you doing?
Not too bad, yourself?
Hi. It's been a while since I last saw you. I don't know if you remember, I came by like a couple years ago now.
Yeah, well, you never did get to see the village.
Okay, then I guess not, no.
Oh, well, follow me.
Okay.
Okay, now, do you have a flashlight?
I have a flashlight on my phone.
Yeah, we've got phones.
Okay, anyway.
You get that?
Fully
Yeah.
charged phones.
Follow
Technically camera
me.
flash. So, why don't you start by telling the story about how you found old George?
Okay, so basically, my family was driving back from Winnipeg, and we saw this tractor on the side of the road that looked kind of old. So I was like, oh, pull over, I want to take a photo of this tractor. And as I'm taking the photo, this big blue van drives down the road, and there's an old guy in it, and he goes something like, well, hey, you like taking photos? Follow me, and I'll show you the best photo you've ever taken in your life. And I followed him, and we went to his house, which is this old mansion full of antiques. There's a sign outside that says something along the lines of Old Joe's like antique museum.
Yeah.
So the other day I called him up because why not? We're gonna go down, we're gonna shoot some photos, we're gonna take some videos of his place, and we're going to interview him. So basically, we're gonna drive 4.5 hours just to see an old man. Mm-hmm. This is Leo.
Hi.
She's the only one who...
I'm the only one who's willing.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm the only one... It seems so interesting. I'm very excited, so...
Yeah. When did you make this place?
Oh, this one here about 14 years ago.
Okay.
Wintertime, I fired up the stove, and I spent 6 months in here, and I decorated it up. It's all made of garbage. Yeah, this is panels from the nuisance ground. This here, the little brass pieces. Those are the valve stems from a semi.
Yeah.
After you see the tires like that? Well, that was used in the war years because you couldn't get tires.
Okay. So we're sleeping in Hotel Carolyn?
I think so.
Oh, I love that.
Change your mind.
Okay, so I wanted to film and do a little rundown of what just happened. We just got here. We're currently in the saloon, which he built himself. So he gave us a tour. Tomorrow we're going to be shooting some pictures in the morning, taking some videos, and then we're going to be sitting down and talking to him, which I'm pretty pumped about. Because
me too. He's got so much to say already. How do you become old?
How do you, because he introduced himself to you
as Old George.
Old George. He has these buildings that he's basically picked up off of like farms.
Yeah, like they're like farmhouses and small little one-room houses that don't have basements, and he essentially just picks them up
and then
trucks
decorates
them over.
them. The whole area, it's almost like it's a lot of garbage, but it's very, very nice garbage, and
a lot of it is nice. A lot of it is
actual
cans.
garbage. Look, it's just our legs.
It's just our men's underwear.
This is where we're sleeping.
So I touched the windowsill to make sure the rain wasn't coming in through the window, and I put my hand on an incredible layer of dust and presumably bug carcasses.
Yeah, I bet.
Ew.
There's bugs. We're just sleeping in bugs.
Look at this huge ass spider right here.
Don't fucking...
Right
Are you gonna touch it? I thought you were gonna... Oh! Sorry, it's not focusing. We're not as good at roughing it as we maybe thought we were. There was a lot of bugs. Good morning. Oh, what's that, Leo? Is it a bird wing nailed to a plank of wood? Everywhere I go, I just keep finding like new things.
We're looking for He-Mans. George told us that one of the buildings in the village was He-Man's Tavern. Ed would drink at the bar and just pee into the trough.
Whoa! Oh, ew! There is a trough!
I'll tell you a little story. At the truck stop, one day this guy said, "You want to buy Little Quiet George?" And I said, "What do you mean by Little Quiet George?" He says, "I got Little Quiet George in my truck. He's traveled all over the United States." So I went out. Here was this little one, and I had the big one, Yeah, he said he bought it in Alberta. "You like it?" "Yeah." He says, "Well, give me $125, you can have him." So I bought him, I found out who did that carving of me. It was in Medicine Hat, Alberta, And, oh, he showed up. Yeah, didn't know who he was. That's right. One day, I was giving a tour here, and he come here, and I said, "Little Quiet George." "Yeah, I made that." And I says, "What do you mean you made that?" "I made that." "Yeah," he says, "I made that, but I sold that to a trucker." He said he had a picture of me, And he did it off from a picture, And he was from Medicine Hat, Alberta. In 1975, I had been involved in a Bottles Across Canada book, and I had helped them out now. And then I said, "Why can't us hillbillies out here in the prairies do one?" One day this guy, I was only about 27 years old at that time, gets up and he's about 65 and he shakes his hand and he says, "Oh, George, are you ever going to get that book out on bottles?" That's how everybody just laughed and clapped. And that's how old George came about.
What's your full name?
Chopping, Chopping.
Like, how did you acquire this house?
One day in 1984, I saw the beautiful big old house, and I always kind of dreamt of having a museum. But anyway, I drove back in, and I walked up to the door, knocked on the door, and asked the guy if he could consider selling the place. He told me what he wanted for it. I said, "Well, sir, I don't have any money. If I ever win $1 million, I think I would like to buy it." The basement was a dungeon. Up in the west wing here was a dungeon too. I said, "Okay." I got a banker friend that lends me money. And we went for coffee afterwards, and the banker said to me, "Well, George, I wouldn't loan anybody for this house, but C&Q, $50,000. Holy doodle, my heart is just beating, October 14th at 8 p.m., get a phone call. "If you want it, you come down and sign the papers tomorrow." Because we made agreement that after 8 hours on, if I didn't give back, he would. Anyway, then I phoned my banker friend, and he never answers the phone. And for some miracle that night, he answered the phone on the third ring. And this is how the conversation went. "John, you know that house in Whitewood?" "Yeah, the guy's willing to sell it for $50,000 with one condition. He lives in it to May 1st next year. Is that okay? Is that okay with you, George?" I says, "Yeah. Go ahead, sign the papers." Click. He doesn't even give me a chance to say thank you.
So, you live up here by yourself now, right? You said that? So, have you ever been married?
Yeah, I was married for 12 years, and a lady, and her dream was to be on a farm and have cattle and horses, and that's where she ended up, and fine dandy. And then I met another lady, my old girlfriend, and we were together for about 7 years, and she went on a farm and have cattle and horses, and that was her dream. Another little lady for 8 years, and her dream too was to be on a farm, have cattle and horses. And sometimes you have different dreams of people doing things. You ask me now to go on a farm and milk cows, I would just get right upset, you see. So you got to be content with where you are and what you do.
I like that. Do you ever get lonely up here?
No, not Not really. Well, I kind of hesitate that. I have lots of visitors, so you meet all types of people from all over the world, and then, you know, photographers and the National Geographics came one day, and the wife says, I don't think we should go in that yard. And he says, if you're intelligent, you don't judge a book by its cover. And I ended up getting a blue star from the National Geographic as one of the unique spots in Canada to tour. My aunt started me stamp collecting when I was 8 years old, And then when I was 10, I found a 1900 10-cent piece. And then when I was 19, I went to the States. And the gentleman said to me, when you come back to Canada, why don't you buy a spinning wheel? About 3 days later, I had to raid my coin collection, and I bought a spinning wheel for $20, And that started, spinning wheel, stamps, and I just kept collecting, and I kind of liked this stuff, In the results, there's a great wealth of history, and I've had fun. My dream would be that it would be nice that the government could take it over, keep it as a historical site, and I got thousands of items to put on display. But I'm run out of time. I burnt out. You hear old timers say that people get burnt out, and you laugh at it when you're young and a teenager. But now I can't go. My mouth still goes 95 miles an hour. My body only 2 miles an hour. I have ended up kind of acquiring quite a knowledge of a variety of things,